Good morning and welcome to Earth Echoes with Amber Fields. This morning I'm going to be reading a piece by Jason Gray titled The Silenced Majority. A call to courage in the age of masks. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of thousands of people at Utah Valley University. A single bullet ended his life, but the echoes of that moment will not be contained within one state or one nation. It was not only an attack on a man, it was an attack on dissent itself. An attack on the right to speak, to question, to stand against a tide that demands submission. The assassin pulled the trigger, but the culture of hatred pulled the pin. This is where we now stand, in a world where words like love, tolerance, and inclusion have been weaponized into masks that hide control, cruelty, and exclusion. The mask of virtue is a lie. The radical left preaches love, but only for those who agree. They preach tolerance, but only for the voices that conform. They preach inclusion, but only for those who kneel before their dogma. They gaslight the public, telling us that silencing dissent is compassion, that censorship is safety, that indoctrination is progress. We say enough. Canada is not safe. I speak as a Canadian, and I say this clearly. We are not immune. Our government is infiltrated by radicals who see citizens not as sovereign beings, but as subjects to be managed. Our media is bought and paid for, its headlines shaped by subsidies and political directives, its independence dissolved. Our educational systems are no longer neutral. They are battlefields where our children are brainwashed, where identity is rewritten, where truth is bent into ideology. We cannot point at America's tragedy and say, that could never happen here. It is already happening here, softly, slowly, quietly. Every institution has been compromised. The hardest truth of all, the ones to blame are not only the radicals, it is us. By our complacency, by our silence, by our belief that it won't matter, we allowed this capture. The assassination is a mirror. Charlie Kirk's assassination is not an isolated act. It is a mirror. It shows us where politics of hatred lead. It shows us what happens when disagreement becomes demonization, when opponents are branded not as wrong, but as evil, when voices are not debated, but destroyed. What happened in Utah is a glimpse of tomorrow's Canada if we do not rise today. What must come now? We cannot wait for someone else to fix this. We cannot assume institutions will correct themselves. They will not. Renewal must come from us, the silenced majority who still know what freedom is. We must name reality, call out political violence and cultural capture for what they are without hedging. We must reclaim institutions, government, media, education, either reform them or build new ones that cannot be bought. We must defend free speech. The right to disagree is the foundation of all liberty. Without it, nothing else stands. We must protect children. Schools are not laboratories for ideology. Parents must reclaim their rightful authority over their children's formation. We must act with courage, not rage. Rage burns hot and fades. Courage endures. It is courage that rebuilds. We must hold ourselves accountable. Complacency built this cage. Only vigilance and courage will break it. The line is drawn. We do not call for violence. We do not call for hate. We call for truth, courage, and resistance to tyranny in all its forms. We call for voices to rise, not be silenced. We call for parents to reclaim their role, for citizens to reclaim their institutions, and for a people to refuse to live under masks of lies. If we remain silent now, Charlie Kirk's death will only be the first in a line of many. If we rise now, his death will mark a turning point, a moment when complacency ended and courage began. The Declaration. We declare that love without freedom is not love, that tolerance without dissent is not tolerance, that inclusion without diversity of thought is not inclusion, that Canada and the free world are worth defending, not with hollow slogans, but with courage, truth, and vigilance. Let this be the moment we refuse the mask, reclaim the truth, and take back what complacency has surrendered. The silenced majority will be silent no longer. Jason Gray. I know Jason was writing a lot about Canada, but I feel that those words are so powerful and they apply to America as well. And everything that I've been saying about Charlie Kirk's death online and in person comes from my heart as someone who is not a conservative or a liberal or a Christian. I am a human, and I didn't always agree with everything that Charlie said, but I very much respected his execution of his message. He was intelligent, he was honest, he stood up for what he believed in, and he did it in a way that respected other people's humanity. And he gave the opposition a voice so frequently, which is something that the radical left has a very hard time doing. And I used to be a Democrat, and I don't know what happened to that party. So I think there's some hard truths that we need to face as a nation and as humans, and I hope we can go forward with compassion and try not to let the powers that be divide us, because they want to divide and conquer, and we must not let that happen. Thank you.